Item 9D,
You're good.
approve design and adopt resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with O'Grady Paving, Inc. for the downtown parking lot resurfacing project in the amount of $433,603, approving a construction contingency of $65,040, appropriating $103,039 from the Measure A fund, and approving a total budget in the amount of $603,039.
Mr. Tan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. So the city's downtown area includes 8 off-street public parking facilities with a total of 392 parking spaces. So here's a map that shows of all the parking lots within the close in proximity of the downtown area. So as part of the ongoing improvements to the city's downtown, in addition to completing the replacement of both the sewer and water pipelines, the parking lots are also being improved for the downtown patrons. The pavement conditions at these majority of the parking lots are in poor condition, and this project would resurface 5 of the 8 parking lots adjacent to Mastic Avenue between Angus and El Camino in the downtown area that have been prioritized to be completed first. So here's some pictures showing the parking lot conditions at the site. So these are the pictures of various different lots going from from El Camino side all the way towards Angus here. There's another picture there as well. So the Sylvan lot, the Angus lot, and the Masson lot, those are in fairly good conditions. I know they're not brand new, but they're not as deteriorated compared to the other 5 lots that are shown on these pictures. So the scope of the work for the project includes milling the existing asphalt surface and overlaying new asphalt and installing new striping. So once completed, the surface will be free from cracked asphalt pavement for downtown patrons to drive and walk. And staff completed the design in-house for this project, and the project was advertised in the newspaper twice last month. And we received 6 bids for the project, and which was opened last month as well on the 26th. And the bid amounts range from approximately $433,600 to $671,000. And the engineer's estimate is $466,000. The lowest bid was received from O'Grady Paving in the amount of $433,603, which was approximately $32,397 lower than the engineer's estimate. And staff reviewed the bid materials and determined that the bid is complete and accurate, and O'Grady Paving has completed numerous projects for public agencies in the Bay Area, including the city of San Bruno as well. So based on their performance and experience, we believe that O'Grady Paving meets the qualifications to perform the work on this project. To minimize the business impact, the specifications require only 1 parking lot to be closed at any given time. Therefore, the contractor is required to complete 1 parking lot before moving on to the next. And the construction hours will be limited from 8 to 5 p.m. and from Monday through Friday, excluding holidays. At the end of each workday, all parking lots will be reopened. And the residents and businesses will be made aware of the construction schedule, impacts from the notices that the department will be sending out, and also the contractor prior to starting the work. For the schedule, staff anticipates starting the construction in the summer of this year after completion of the San Mateo Avenue water and sewer replacement project. And work on the parking lot adjacent to the Plaza apartment is scheduled to begin in the fall of this year as well. And the CIP budget includes an appropriation of $500,000, and the staff is requesting an additional $103,000 for Measure A fund to supplement the additional cost. The total budget includes the design, construction contract, contingency, and as well as staff management and inspection during construction phase for a total project cost of $603,039. And there are unallocated balance in Measure A of $751,000 to supplement the project cost. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions of staff? Michael.
Thank you. Jimmy, I think this is great. I think anything that we can do to improve the appearance of our downtown is going to be very much welcome. The question I had is regarding any known utilities that might be underneath these lots that we might want to consider having a look at, make sure that they're good for at least another 10 years before we cover them over with new asphalt. Do you know off the top of your head if there is anything under there that we would consider?
I don't. I would have to check.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense to, if there is an opportunity to get in there and do something ahead of it. I know it could delay the project, but I would hate to lay down new asphalt and then have to tear it back up if we find that there is something under there that we need to address. The other thing is, in some of the discussions I've heard around downtown parking plan, is that there's a possibility of doing parking meters at some point. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen or not, but would the presence of parking meters require anything different? Would we want to do, if there was a potential for putting parking meters in, would we want to, I don't know, maybe pre-wire something? A lot of the new parking meters are electronic and they take credit cards. So if we were to take advantage of something like that, would we want to consider putting something in place?
What I've seen in other agencies are, they have number stalls and number markers on these stalls, as well as a solar unit for these the parking units, right, where they pay. And so I don't believe that there will be additional conduits or electrical services needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Irene?
I was just trying to look up the name of the street that is in between the two parking lots, and I can't think of the name of the street where Starbucks is. Is that Sylvan? That street is as equally bad shape as the upper left-hand corner there, and the sidewalks as well. So I realize it's not part of the scope, but maybe we could extend it just that much to do just that block. It would be horrible to have these beautiful parking lots paved and have the sidewalks all broken up in the street right there. It's really bad, so I would like to do that. And then I know one of the things I'd like us to keep our eye out for, and I know you've done it and are diligent about it, but I would like us to make sure we keep looking for grants for doing charging stations for cars in any place we could put them in the parking lots. And again, I realize it's not part of this scope, but it's something that I think we need to be looking at.
Other questions or comments from Marty? Oh, I apologize. Thank you, Marty. Laura.
I was just going to say, in the years past, I've seen a lot of paving done in San Bruno, and I'm always concerned with sometimes the sloppiness that gets done. And I think that I don't always necessarily think that the best price is always the best, or is it the best product that you get out of. So I just want to make sure that we're going forward, if we do that with O'Grady, and that they do provide a very good and clean job. And what I mean by that is that if you go around to some of the neighborhoods where some recent paving jobs have, the edges are sloppy, they don't come over enough to a clean edge, and then what happens is the asphalt starts breaking away. Before you know it, you've got holes in the asphalt, and it deteriorates with the rain. As soon as there's any cracks, they get bigger and bigger with the rain. So I want to make sure that we're making the best decision. And I know we always look at price, and price is the big thing, but I want to make sure based on the second best, I guess, would say, whoever that might be, quality product, and that we're spending a lot of money on something that we're getting a good job. And then my other question would be that on a lot like Sylvan Lot, is that just a slurry that's needed, or is that something that you're going to grind up too as replaces to save money? Where we have maintained it, it looks like a decent-sized lot. That, where Lot 5 definitely needs to be grinded and repaved, and the cost of that is much greater.
Slurry seals are much cheaper than having to mill and fill, currently we don't have any plans to do the three lots that are shown there, that's Sylvan, Angus, and Masson at this moment, but it's something that we can actually include for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marty?
I liked all the questions. Just wanted to add, I guess, an overhanging question is that at some point maybe in this parking study that we're getting from downtown, we're going to be told that we need to get a parking structure. And the parking structure would be probably located in Lot 5 and Lot 4 here. So my concern is with this additional development that is coming downtown, and we already have a problem with the parking downtown, and we're waiting for this report to pretty much conclude that we need to do something else about parking downtown, that we're going to spend a good amount of that paving lots 4 and 5, and we're going to, I'm hoping soon, within the next couple of years, start looking at how we're going to put a parking structure there where it's desperately needed. And clearly, the other 3 lots, no problem, they need them. We're not going to be able to fit a parking structure in that little area, but the area north of Sylvan definitely is a great location to put a parking structure. So talking to the paving contractor, maybe there is an alternative, cheaper treatment, like a cape seal of some kind, where you go ahead and just to see what they think. They're the experts, you know. And yeah, Lot 5 is horrible. It's going to even be worse because currently it's being used as part of a laydown. Or I'm sorry, Lot 4 would be part of the laydown area for the contractor who's working downtown. So it's just going to get worse. But I'm looking further down the road of this parking structure that we got to have. We need a parking structure. So I'd like to let staff know that I'm totally for this project, but I'm just concerned about those lots that are clearly where a parking structure would go, which has been identified in, I believe, some golden shovel, the program we had where we were trying to identify where this parking structure would go, and it just makes sense. It's a really nice big area. So I'd like to hear your comments on that and maybe how we can try to maybe award the contract, but just wait till this report that is hopefully going to come soon of the downtown parking management plan. I think that's what it is, right?
I'm not sure of the status on the parking. That's something that, you know, maybe the city manager.
Yeah, I guess the question is whether the council wants to provide direction to delay award of contract or start of work in order to accommodate further consideration of whether or not to pave one or more of those parking lots. We can certainly look at whether in a less expensive treatment is possible. That could be done as a change to the existing award of the contract. But I guess the question is really whether you're asking us to defer the actual award of the contract or the start of construction. And if so, we'd appreciate specific direction as to that interest.
Yes, Marty.
I'm in favor of the project, to award the project, but to consult the contractor for those larger lots. And it could be done with the change order, or maybe they'll come back and say, you know what, that lot is so hammered that there's really nothing else we can do. It is in horrible condition. It is only going to get worse. So I'm just hoping, and maybe you could please provide a date when this parking management downtown plan is going to be, because when I went to the public meeting regarding that plan, I think it was kind of like clear that we needed to do something. There's not enough parking downtown and in the surrounding neighborhoods, and how are we going to put cars downtown without a parking structure? So if that helps clarify anything,
What you're thinking? Okay, so from the conversation with the council, I've heard of just about looking at utilities, why we're doing that. Also, Irene brought up about the Sylvan, the one block of that area, and also being mindful of continuing to look for grants for charging stations, which would be nice to have, I agree. Laura's bringing up about the conditions and quality of the finished work on the product, wanting to ensure its longevity as well as the investment that we're having. And then finally, Marty has brought up in regards to the parking structure, and what I'm hearing is council wanting to know whether we're talking about delaying or removing one or two lots. And I know Marty had suggested awarding the contract, but get their consulting for about the larger lots. Any thoughts from council?
Through the chair.
Michael.
Could we get just a completely ballpark estimate, maybe from Mr. Waltering or Connie, if you want to take a stab at it? If we were to say, yes, we absolutely need a parking structure downtown, we decided that today, how long would it be until we were actually putting a shovel in the ground?
If you were to decide right now today and you had the location and you own the property and you're literally ready to go, I would say construction would be, 18 months, 2 years maybe? Yeah. But we're not anywhere near any of those threshold dates. So I would say realistically we're looking 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
At the minimum.
That's the number I was looking for. Yeah. So if we got 3 to 5 years of life out of these parking lots, I think we'd be in pretty good shape. So I like the way you're thinking, Marty, because we do need to look at our projects more strategically and more, we need to consider not just what we're doing in the next couple of years, but what we're doing in the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And so we definitely do need to look at that. But I think if we got, if we could count on, 5 years of use out of these lots, I think I would still be in favor of moving forward now, rather than trying to delay that. I like the other comments too, charging stations. I don't know if that requires infrastructure, possibly, underneath the asphalt. And definitely the quality of the work. Since we're doing one at a time, we have an ability to evaluate how it's going and get some course correction. And it also reminded me that we always want to remind our contractors to be tidy in what they're doing and be respectful of the neighborhoods that they're impacting. So dust control and all that is important.
Irene or Laura, you have any thoughts or comments from?
Through the chair, I was going to comment make that same comment, Michael. So I agree. I mean, I think you're looking at a parking structure, it's at least 5 years out. I think the comments that I made regarding quality, I think it's and Marty, Michael, great point. As each of these lots get completed, I think we need to ensure the quality of it. And so I think some of the other comments are, I think the biggest one I want to really tackle is also the charging station. Other cities have charging stations. I mean, this is coming, and cars are coming. I mean, I don't know at some point if you can buy a car sometime in the near future that's not electric. So we need to get on the forefront. So how much digging up once you've paved a parking lot is it going to be required to put in the required wiring and electricity that needs?
Actually, if you would entertain the director to comment for just a minute,
Please.
we do have some information you might be interested in the charging station.
Please,
idea.
Mr. Tan.
Yeah, so last year, and there was an interest by CCAG to try to get a group of various different agencies to participate in a possible grant for the electrical these charging stations. So we did participate in that, but we haven't heard anything back from CCAG yet. But we've been contacted by this company, EVgo. It's a national company. And they've installed these electrical charging stations for other member agencies. They recently completed one for City of St. Carlos at their library. And they've also partnered with other businesses as well to install their units. So the way it works is that they will contract directly with the city. It will be like a 10 years lease agreement, and they'll set up everything. So they'll come and they'll install their charging units. They'll do all of the permitting. They'll do the construction, the design, and they'll coordinate everything with PG&Es. And the only stipulation is that the city would have to provide a space for them to install their unit. But that's something that we're still discussing internally. Whether or not it's what's really in it for the city here if we're given a space, or there has to be some sort of a benefit in return. And so that's something that we're trying to determine in-house whether we want to move forward with that or not at this moment.
There's the additional concern that this is obviously a private company. They're in presumably a for-profit business. And so what would we need or want to do with respect to providing other similar companies the same opportunity, and then determining what would be the best available? I mean, we can certainly provide public property for a private use under certain situations. Would we want to also consider doing some sort of open solicitation process? So we were evaluating alternative proposals for that kind of use. And we can talk further internally about whether and how to make the timing work. I think there might be a possibility that we could look into that further and coordinate that with the paving of the parking lots if the council is interested.
Okay. Irene, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Okay.
There's interest.
We knew that.
Yes, I still would like to see if we could pave that piece of Sylvan. Is that possibility to add to that? Do you think the cost would be prohibitive? Would that be a change order?
It will be a change order. And one thing that I would also mention is we're trying to improve the infrastructure, beyond the San Mateo Avenue as well. So we have another project that we're currently on. It's on hold, just getting ready to bid until this project for San Mateo Avenue is completed. We're calling the avenues 1-1, 1-2, where we're replacing the water and sewer pipelines, all along this, the Huntington, San Mateo, the Triangle area, all the way down to Taylor in Florida. So all the water and sewer lines will be replaced within the entire neighborhood, and Sylvan is part of that. And once the pipelines are replaced, the roads will be repaved as part of that project. So we can proceed with doing paving of this roadway now, but then we would have to tear it up within a year or a year and a
that's
half.
fine.
Yeah.
No. I'm happy to hear that, and
Yes.
I look forward to it when it's all completed. Thank you. Oh, and so when you're doing that, would you please add the sidewalks on both those places as well? On that piece of Sylvan, the sidewalks entering the parking lot to the south side of Sylvan, I forget which number it is badly damaged.
We know which block it is.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Marty?
I'd like to introduce a resolution, as noted in the report, with a little modification of just asking the contractor to reevaluate what else could be done with those other lots, instead of just a grind and overlay.
Did we also want to include about the sidewalks? The council member O'Connell just brought up in the resolution, or no?
No.
Oh, excuse me, that they can do when they're
With the
doing
change order, okay.
the other
When they
piece.
do the- yeah.
So that's
Got it.
fine.
No. She's talking about the sidewalks,
Right.
not the street.
Yeah, that would be later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when they,
So there is the resolution that's been introduced with the modification to it to go back and ask if there is a cheaper methodology for the couple of lots that it has a potential in a period of time from now to have a parking structure. Did I summarize that all right? Mark, does that work? Vicki?
Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell,
I'm going to vote no on that. I want the project to go through, but I don't think that piece is necessary. So I'm going to vote no on, I guess I have to vote no on all of it.
Okay.
Councilmember Salazar,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Aye. Okay.
Chair? Can I-
Councilmember
just
Salazar.
one point of clarification on that. So, Jimmy, when you go back and talk to the contractor, if they say that there is some cheaper option, are you going to bring that back to us, or would we just assume that you will go with a cheaper option based on what we just?
We will report back to you, but
Okay.
if it can be done within the budget and the contract costs that you've just approved, we would assume that we have your direction to do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Everything good? Okay.